Hello. I'm here today actually in southern Mexico for work in the state of Chiapas. You can see I'm using my cell phone camera today, but you can kind of see out the window here that it's a beautiful day in Tuxtla Gutierrez. And I just wanted to take a couple minutes to talk to everybody a little bit about resume design and working on your resume to work to get sort of overseas related jobs. I was helping somebody the last couple days work on a resume looking for a job in international affairs. And something that I feel like bears repeating is the need to really get into the mind of the people who are doing the hiring when you're putting together your application packages. Whether that means your resume, whether it's a cover letter, whether it's an informational interview or something like that, or even a formal interview. I mean, what you really need to be thinking about is, trying to put yourself in the shoes of the person reviewing the resumes or doing the interview or looking at the cover letter and think, what are these people looking for? What do they want to see? Because it's not very helpful, to think about your own wants and needs at this point. You're trying to convince somebody else to hire you. So you need to think about their wants and needs. Now, obviously, in the broader context, you want to think about your wants and needs. I mean, your job application should be ideally advancing your wants and needs. But in terms of how you approach your job application and that communication with the people doing the hiring, you want to think about their wants and needs. And so with the person that I was been working with recently, I was looking, he's done a lot of very interesting things all over the world. And a lot of his, the orientation of the work that the sort of documents he's putting together was very much focused on sort of, this is sort of what I've done and this is where I want to go. And so we just looked at a lot of those things that he was doing. For example, he'd done quite a bit of work with media. He'd been on TV and radio and done live interviews and things like that. And, but he wasn't thinking about the importance of that to the type of employer he was looking to get a job with. That kind of work actually, it turns out, is big plus in that line of work. And I'm going to leave out the details because I don't think he'd appreciate having them public. But those sorts of jobs, people would find that very interesting and very useful. And in his mind, he was looking and thinking about sort of what his vision of the job was, et cetera, and sort of downplayed that. And so we talked, and I have some experience with people who work in that sector too, and I sort of said, hey, look, just as, again, using as an example, you've got to this is a great piece of experience. You need to highlight that more. You need to talk about it more. You need to talk about it in a language that that's gonna grab them. Because when they see, oh, you've done live interviews, on television and something like that, that's gonna really, hook them in. And so that's basically, again, just to sort of round it off and repeat it again, but you need to get into the shoes of the people who are reviewing your resume and your job application when you're writing them, so that you're speaking to them rather than speaking to yourself. And that also, as a consequence, means that if you're applying to different jobs and different companies, and particularly if you're looking at jobs in sort of different sectors, it's important you're probably going to have to recraft your application and your resume a little bit so that they are speaking to each different audience.